Let's expose the product page service through the gateway. Here we have this virtual gateway that we can create that's going to be translated to the corresponding Istio Gateway object by Gloo Mesh. Here we just select the Ingress Gateway of cluster 1 and we're going to listen to port 80 for any incoming traffic. But you'll see later that we can have a virtual gateway composed of multiple gateways of multiple clusters if you want to expose the same service in multiple clusters. There are also different ways of delegating the routing. So here you can see that we just allow any route table to be attached to this virtual gateway, but we can define some rules and say domain 1 is going to be managed by workspace of app 1 and domain 2 by workspace of app 2, for example. So if you want to completely delegate a domain, and you can define rules here to ensure that app 1 can use domain 1, for example. But you will see that here we take a different approach where we're going to create a route table in the same Istio Gateway's namespace. The gateway team is going to attach their own route table to the virtual gateway. And here you can be fine-grained about some paths that are going to be used by different teams. For example, instead of delegating a full domain, you want to only use the same domain for multiple teams, but you want to delegate a prefix. You can say that if the requests start with /app1, I'm going to delegate that routing to the route table that will be created in the workspace of app1. And the same for app2 and so on. Or you can do what we're doing here in this example, which is allowing the different teams use any paths, but I'm going to ask Gloo Mesh to automatically reorder all the routes so that they're not conflicting. Again, this is good for a demo, but in the real world, we generally have different prefixes for the different teams. So let's create this. Again, the gateway team are creating these two objects, and now the book info team can create the subrouting. They can define with more granularity what are the different matches they want to have, for example, /product page request or /static or any of these other ones that they want to send that request to the product page service. The book info team is creating this, and now everything is translated by Gloo Mesh into the corresponding Istio resources. So you can see here it created this Istio Gateway resource that's going to listen on port 80 and using this Ingress Gateway. And in the same way, it's going to create a virtual service that has a match on what we defined. So now we can take a look at the IP address of the Ingress Gateway, and we can use it to access the product page. All right, so it's not HTTPS yet. We can access these applications through HTTP. But obviously, that's not really what you want to do in general. You want HTTPS. So let's create a self-signed certificate. Again, this is a demo. In production, you could generate a proper certificate either manually or create the secrets like we're doing here, or add some automation around it, like using, for example, Vault or Cert Manager to request the right certificate and create the secret that's going to be generated and then created and then picked up by the virtual gateway. So we'll update the virtual gateway to say that we want to listen on HTTPS and the secret that we generated. And we also redirect HTTP to HTTPS. So let's create this. And now we're done. We can simply reload the browser. And because we have the HTTP to HTTPS redirect, even if you try to access the HTTP version, it should redirect you to HTTPS. So this is on cluster 1, and this is the IP of cluster 1.